Hi there, welcome to Moving Forward with Gayle Suzanne. This is a show about empowering people, educating people, letting them know different types of things that can help them, move them forward, help them live a better life. And today I am very honored to have two guests, and we're going to be talking about self-defense, which is a very important and critical thing for people to know. I personally, before I talked to our guests, I was very ignorant about how to protect myself in a certain situation. I had certain things in mind that were probably wrong, and I know now that they're wrong. So I would love to introduce my two guests, Kevin Vidina,
Hi.
who is a martial arts instructor,
Yep.
and David Rebello,
Yes.
excuse me, who is his student. And later on in the show, these nice young men are going to show all of us some common moves or some helpful moves that will help us get out of a dangerous situation. If someone comes from behind or puts you in a chokehold, and just other various techniques that we can use to protect ourselves in case an intruder or an attacker comes upon us. So welcome, you two. I'm so honored that you're here. I really am, and I really think this is something that is not spoken about an awful lot, but it's very, very important to show people really simple things that they can do to protect themselves. So Kevin, tell us a little bit about your background and what you do and where you are in your career. I see you're a black belt, so explain a little bit about what you do.
Well, I train in Shotokan Karate Do, which is a very traditional martial art that's from Okinawa. I've been training in this martial art for 11 years, and I have been teaching it for almost 4 years now.
Okay, where do you teach?
I teach at Bristol Community College.
Okay.
Classes are free to all students, staff, and alumni.
Oh.
And if they cannot go to those classes, I also teach classes out of the home.
Awesome, awesome. So in talking about, and Dave, you're a student, how many years have you been a student?
I've been a student of Sensei Kevin's for about 2.5, almost 3 years now.
Okay, okay. And I notice you have a blue belt.
Correct.
Kevin has a black belt.
Yes.
So what does the blue belt signify?
Blue belt is, I would best describe it as starting intermediate
Okay.
karate.
Okay.
Perfectly said.
Okay, okay. So what do you think, you guys, or you starting, Dave, or Kevin, what are some of the misconceptions that people have?
Misconceptions, a lot of people think that this is silly, and it really isn't. You know, a lot of people say, oh, well, they wear those funny dresses, or karate chops, or I'm going to judo chop you, stuff like that. But this is very, very serious, and if used correctly, very, very effectively.
Now that surprises me that people would say it's silly. That's really surprising to me, and this is the first time I've heard this from you. Really? That they just think it's like,
yeah,
and then that's it.
Right, exactly.
But it's so much more than that.
And the whole hi-ya thing, yeah, of course.
The
you get all that. Like, Kevin's a black belt. Kevin, show him a move. No.
Okay, so it's very important. Some of the things that I have thought, like along the years, is if I am a young female and I am petite, which I'm not, but let's just say, and I have no muscle strength. So even take somebody like me who is, not fit, doesn't have any martial arts background or karate background. How can I protect myself, or is there a way against somebody who's 6'4" and weighs, 300 pounds and is all full of muscle?
Right.
I mean, to me, I would think there's no way I can protect myself.
Well, what I like to tell my students, and I always reiterate them the same thing so they always understand, and maybe if when they're training they can have like my little voice inside their head, but what I like to tell my students, big or small, female or male, no matter what, we all have the same weaknesses. Everybody has eyes, everybody has a throat. If you're a male, you have a groin. So those are primarily if you're not a martial artist or a trained person, and if you do have to defend yourself, those are most likely the target points that you really want to go for in order to escape and live another day. And I do say live another day because there are so many people who do get attacked and don't go back home to their loved ones and families. It's very serious.
Yeah, it is very serious, and that's why it surprises me that someone would say it's silly. I think for me that it looks so out of the ordinary and so difficult to do that there's no way someone who's not in shape could actually do it. So what is the myth or fact around that? Like, do you have to be in uber good shape in order to do these moves?
Well, you don't really have to. You don't have to be in the tip-top shape, but it definitely helps to be in tip-top shape. You don't have to be a full-on bodybuilder, but if you do work out and weightlift, it does help. If you do train on cardio, that certainly helps because you do want to outlast your opponent, which I tell my guys all the time as well. Cardio is very important if you want to be able to still be standing during the attack.
Okay. But it's not a necessity.
It's not.
So if I'm a 60-year-old woman who wants to learn a couple of moves, like moves you're going to show us later on in the show,
Yes.
it will be helpful.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And being a newcomer, well, not new because you've been there a couple of years. So during your past couple of years in doing this, what have you noticed as far as the difference in your perception? Or
Body awareness, self-confidence, ease under pressure, instinct. After a while, there are certain moves that you do remember that just become part of your fabric of who you are now.
Yeah, wow, that's great. That's great to know. And the confidence building is one
Huge.
thing.
Humongous.
I think especially, because I'm a woman, if she's living single or something like, having that knowledge and having just a few basic moves even, can give you that confidence
Absolutely.
that I can take care of myself without having, without carrying a weapon or something that's, that could, I don't want to get into the gun thing, but just something that if somebody's not going to carry a weapon, what else can they do?
Right, and karate means literally empty hand. So you are training without weapon. You are the weapon.
Okay.
So one of the things because you mentioned and kind of ticked a thought is that I really feel that I know every single person, at least once in their life, has the idea of what would I do if I am attacked. I feel like everybody has that curiosity. And I just want to say that you don't have to be like me, but I really do feel like that you should at least take a class, and if you really like it, a month. You know what I mean? So it's really helpful to learn and know, and then it will kill that curiosity and the things I could do in order to break free of being attacked.
Right. And this is wonderful that you're here, that you can also show people. There's a few things that you can do just by looking on TV, or probably YouTube some of the things. And if they think this is great, then take classes. This is for everyone. And I've learned some things just by you guys doing your demo before. I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Like, to me, I always thought, and you're going to talk about this later, but I always thought like punching someone in the stomach or elbowing them in the stomach or whatever would be something good because the elbow is so strong.
It is. You have to use literally everything that you have or that comes to you in order to escape or to go get help. So anything that works, if it's going to work, then absolutely use it, because if it does work out, it's going to work out for you in order to escape and survive.
So what are some of the things that you have found with people who were skeptical but tried your class and are in your class for a while, and Dave, you touched on it a little bit, but what are some of the things that people really are like, wow, I never thought I could get to this point, or I never thought this would help me with karate, or martial arts would help me with this particular part of their life?
Well, number one, martial arts definitely teaches discipline. Some people, like Dave here, who's a student in college, it helps him to stay on the task and keep motivated and determined. So that's why martial arts is good for kids. It teaches them discipline. To do your homework. It's important to do your homework, just like it's important to practice everything that you need to in order to be good at anything. It helps it teaches a warrior's way to be polite and treat others that you would like to be treated as well.
So it goes way beyond like physical moves.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is like a changing of your whole.
It's a very spiritual thing as well.
That's, and I'm sure people don't know that.
No.
Because I didn't know that. I think the Army helps you with discipline or, something like
True.
that, but something like this is, and what is it about it that like the discipline? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, why don't you go ahead? 'Cause you go to school, and
Yep.
how does it help you in school?
When you go to school, you have your being disciplined, being persistent, focus, attention to detail, doing your homework. You could either read it in a book or take karate or take yoga or something along those lines, because you have to learn, you have to use discipline, you have to be persistent, you have to be perseverant,
Yep.
you have to have focus, attention to detail, determination, listening. So everything that you would need in school, you would need in karate.
Yeah.
The only difference is, instead of learning it from a book, you learn it in practical exercise, and also getting in good shape, and also taking care of your spirit and grounding yourself as well.
Wow, so that's like a whole, mind, body, spirit.
Absolutely.
It is. It totally is.
Either do it the hard way by reading books or watching TV, or just putting it in practice, getting the whole mind, body, and soul connection in one shot.
And so how many hours do you guys spend a week? Like you have classes, and then do you go home and practice what you learned in the class?
Ideally.
Okay.
I mean, I do have a busy schedule, as we all have busy schedules, but at a minimum, if I do some stretching, any little thing I do will help.
Yep.
And it's not a race. Going to getting each belt is not a race.
Right.
It's
Everybody's
the journey.
different.
And what makes you go from one belt to another? What's the criteria? So what will get a blue belt to the next color?
So every student learns the basics, and every time they go for a new belt, I will add on to the basics, adding combinations. Students will learn a new kata, or as people know as forms. And a kata is just pretty much a sequence of moves that make you move. There'll be kicks and punches, and then when you apply those moves to an actual person, that's called bunkai. So applying those moves and making those moves, so I'm not teaching them just aimless movements. You are actually learning how to defend yourself in that kata. So every student will learn a new kata, and it gets harder and harder as you move up the chain.
But someone at like the first belt could defend themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just enriching your knowledge going forward.
Right.
And there's a lot of belts. You said there's what, 10?
There's a lot. So everyone starts off as a white belt, and then they go for yellow, orange, blue, green. There's purple, and then there's a degree of purple, and then you'll get your brown, a degree of brown, another degree of brown, and then you'll get black. But there's also other degrees of black as well. Our style goes up to 10th degree. I'm 4th. But you don't see a lot of people go into the 10th degree unless they are from a direct school, say, and they would at least be in their 80s if they got to it.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And does that mean you can like damage someone with your finger across the room?
It's not really learning more stuff. It's just staying with it and keeping with it.
Okay. And probably just deeper, deeper and deeper.
Right.
The more you go, the more you take.
The more time you pretty much invest into it.
Right. Well, I thank you both for being here, and
You're welcome.
you guys are going to be doing some moves for us.
Yep.
And one of the things that I absolutely love is they're going to be showing us some straightforward moves, chokehold, coming from bear hug from behind, and also some everyday things that we have in our pocketbooks and our wallets that can help us defend ourselves against a stranger.
Implements or tools that we use that you wouldn't even think, oh, I never even really thought about that.
Exactly. So I thank you so much.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you.
Please, if you want to go to Kevin's class, he says he's at Bristol Community College.
And Fall River.
And I'm very grateful. This is very important. So thank you both for coming. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Before I show you these techniques, it's very important that these are for a last resort situation. If you are not able to run away or call 911 for help, this is your only chance of surviving, okay? So first off, one of the questions was, how could I defend myself if my attacker is coming to bear hug me from behind, okay? So Dave is gonna come around and bear hug me, okay? So Dave is a strong guy, and I don't want to outmuscle him, okay? So in order to break free of this, again, I'm not going to get stiff, okay, and try to break free, okay? It's not going to do any good. My opponent is going to outmuscle me, okay? So what I want to do is shock my opponent, okay? What are some of the possibilities I can do from here? Well, number one, if it's a man, okay, we have a groin, okay, so we can simply take our foot, okay, and just kick up, okay, to shock our opponent, okay. We also got fingers here, okay, so we can also take a finger, and just tweak it a little bit, and Dave will tap to let me know that something is bothering him or something hurts. The other thing I could also do is I could take my head, okay, use your noggin, folks, and take my head and just take a nice headbutt to my opponent, okay. So again, these are some techniques that we can do to shock our opponent or loosen up our opponent, because they're focused so hard on tightening on us that after they get struck, they're not going to be thinking about holding you so tight anymore. They're going to be thinking about, ow, I feel pain. Okay, so real quick, so real slow, okay? So I would prefer to use the headbutt for this one. So I'm going to take my head and strike Dave in the head, okay? So that's going to shock my opponent to make him loosen his grip. And then right from here, as fast as I can, I'm going to bend down, grab a leg, and sweep it from underneath him, okay? And now he's here, okay? From here, just for a nice touch, I can come here and strike to the groin, and I'm free to run, okay? Let's show them one more time, but now let's try it fast. Okay, my opponent grabs me. He's really grabbing really tight, okay? So I'm gonna go for the headbutt, grab the leg, take him down. Ready?
Yes.
And always remember to run away, okay? So the main objective is to break free, do what you have to do to your opponent in order to break free and run and get help, okay? Now we'll show you a technique off of a choke, okay? So my opponent here will come and grab for the throat, okay? And of course it's easier said than done, but it's best not to panic, okay? You really need to stay focused and controlled. Again, I know it's easier said than done, okay? So my opponent comes and grabs me by the throat. Oh no, what's something I can do, okay? Easy, okay? I can take my hands, because you have to think of it this way, okay? My opponent has just put himself in a very big disadvantage, okay? He is using two of his hands to force me not to breathe, while I still have two free hands, okay? So very sensitive parts to the face. We got our eyes, okay? Grab for the eyes, take your thumbs, okay? And push into the eyes, okay? Like so, okay? Also, ears are very easy to rip, okay? We can grab an ear and pull, okay? Another thing we have is he has a throat as well, okay? And I don't know if you guys can really get this, but I'm gonna just take two of my fingers, okay? And then if you could release for a second, I'm gonna take two of my fingers, okay? And then we're going to place it right in this little space here in between the collarbone. It's right underneath the Adam's apple, okay? This really soft spot here, okay? So if Dave comes and grabs me, okay, and this is painful, and this is a lot easier than him trying to choke me, I'm gonna grab control of my opponent, okay? And then I'm gonna take those 2 fingers, and I'm gonna put it right in that nice soft spot. I'm going to push in and dig down, as if I wanna try to take my 2 fingers and hook his collarbones or his clavicles, okay? So in, and then watch Dave's body language, okay? Simple as that, okay? I really didn't have to use too much force, okay? And another thing too that I could use from here, okay, is that always remember, wherever the head goes, the body is going to also follow, okay? So if I push Dave's head back, his body is going to follow. If I push it to the side, his body is going to follow, okay? So you want to be careful with this, but I'm going to take my hand, okay? I'm going to take my right hand, okay? And I'm going to place it onto Dave's chin, okay, here. And I'm going to take the other hand and place it on the base of his skull. And then watch Dave, okay, as I take my hands and just do this twisting motion here. Okay, obviously, again, we want to be very careful with this because we're dealing with somebody's neck, okay? Another thing too, if someone comes and grabs, again, to the throat, okay, you can grab your opponent by the nape of the neck, you know, grab control of your opponent, and then very easily, okay, everyone can do this, I know this for a fact, is that they can take their knee, and as I take my knee to strike my opponent, I'm going to bring my opponent's head toward my body, okay? So if Dave steps away, okay, for a second, I'm going to use my whole body to throw that hip, okay? Okay? So he comes and grabs, okay? I can knee to the groin, okay? Or knee to the stomach, okay? So, bah! Just like so, bah! Just like so, okay? And then, once we, again, shock our opponent to loosen their grip, okay, boom, we can go into the neck, like so. Now I'd like to demonstrate some everyday items that we have on ourselves and how we can use them for self-defense. Okay, so now what I'd like to demonstrate is some everyday items that we personally have on ourselves that could help you survive the next day if someone were to attack you. Nice writing utensil, a pen or a pencil, if you have this in your backpack. And remember, if someone's attacking you, obviously you're not going to go, oh wait, you're attacking me? Can I reach in my pocketbook and please get my pen? It's not going to happen that way. But if you do have time, remember, awareness is preparedness. If you are aware of someone being weird, following you, now's the time to, you know, go through your things if you have a good distance to get something to help you prepare for the fight. So we have a pen here, okay? How can we use a pen? Well, just like how you would hold a knife, okay? Just like so, okay? And then for main points, okay, if someone was going to be attacking me, I wouldn't want to stay to the body, okay? We want to conflict as much damage as possible, and we want to maim our opponent as much as possible so we can, again, run away and get help, okay? So things that I would do is, again, go for the eyes, okay? Stab for the eye, go for the throat, okay? And then I'm gonna not use the point, okay? So just like I showed you with that 2-finger technique, okay? If I'm precise, I can also lunge forward and boom, okay? And again to the eye. Another thing too you can also do is the other way we hold a knife, and that is like so, okay? So we can strike on top of the head, okay? We can lunge in and strike, or we can both come to the sides, okay? Even here at the neck, okay? Boom, boom, okay? So that's one great way how to use a pen in order to inflict damage on your opponent, okay? Another thing that you might want to consider, and they do make these in stores, is a tactical flashlight, or a flashlight made not only so you can see things, but you can also defend yourself. So what I have in my hand is a flashlight, and sometimes you can find flashlights that have prongs on the lenses, which is good for self-defense because now you can jab your opponent. And not only that, but they are super bright. And if you, and I won't do it to my student here because I don't want him to be blinded, but if someone is coming in, okay, so let's show some distance. If he starts coming in, okay, and if I shine the light in his eyes, it's going to disorientate him, okay, and he might even see spots. It's going to just blind him for a second so you can get away. And if he doesn't, and if he keeps continuing in, again, you can use the flashlight the same way as you would use the pen, okay? I can jab for the face here, okay, eye, chin, neck, or I can also come and strike down. If Dave was to grab me, okay, and if I have the flashlight, okay, something that's going to conflict a lot of damage is by grabbing the nape of my opponent's neck to grab control of his head and bringing it down and smashing the flashlight against his head. Okay. Again, you want to conflict as much damage. I would stay away from the body and mainly focus on the head. Okay. Another thing too. This is personally one of my favorite things to use. Okay. Every night, if I'm leaving, say a big city, it's dark, and I don't feel comfortable, the first thing I do is if I leave a public building is that I go and reach for my keys. Okay, you're going to use them to unlock your car anyways. But one of my favorite things to do is take your key and take your hand and put it in the webbing of your knuckle. Okay, very, very effective. And again, this is one of my favorites. As soon as I leave a public building, I put my keys in between my fingers, walk in my pockets, hands in my pockets, and walk and just always watch my surroundings. And now what's happening is you're almost creating a brass knuckle, okay, again, so I can, again, strike to the face, okay, and you don't have to be strong, and you don't have to be really well trained. Now you have a small weapon in your hand where we can go for the eyes. This will most definitely, if you contact bone or the cheekbone, the zygomatic bone, it's definitely going to tear flesh, and this person's going to need stitches, okay? So again, we always want to focus eyes, throat, cheek, okay? And those are the targets that you really primarily want to go after. So these are some everyday objects that you have on you that could help you, that could help save your life and live another day.